All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. Yet again, another Lexus. I have been able to acquire the 2011 Lexus GX460. Actually, a subscriber of mine actually requested this vehicle, so luckily, this vehicle is actually Cary Imports owner's mother's vehicle, actually. So obviously, this vehicle has been well taken care of. So let's see what this bad boy is all about, huh? Not bad at all. We're going to get into that in a bit, but yes, like I mentioned, I am yet again back at Cary Imports. If you're interested in a heavily babied GX460, has been off-road, none of that nonsense, well, you can definitely hit them up. This thing has done about 132,000 miles on it. I'm just going to skip over the looks. I do like the way that this thing looks, but you be the judge of that. I just want to get right into this driving because this drives as if I have just driven this thing off of the showroom floor. That is exactly how this thing feels to me. It feels legitimately brand new, even with 132,000 miles, and that is why there is such a following for Lexus. Like, that's why Lexus owners are so passionate. You know, they're definitely some of the most proud owners of vehicles in the car community for sure, because they live and die by Lexus, and that's because these vehicles feel so excellent even with age. They are easily the best aging vehicles that you can buy for sure. I'll give you an example. Like the new one, like if you wanted a 2019 Lexus GX460, well, it's going to have this exact same engine with 301 horsepower and 329 pounds-feet of torque. And not much has changed other than they put their corporate spindle grille on it. So other than that, they age themselves really nicely. They just tweak the looks, but mechanically, it's pretty much the same. So I can definitely appreciate Lexus for that. Everything has aged extremely well. I'm going to get into that interior in a bit, but like I said, this drive is our priority for now, and I'm going to see how this bad boy kind of handles itself. Yeah, I recently drove the 2001 Lexus LX 570, which I loved, and actually a subscriber of mine actually went to Cary Imports and drove that exact same car, and he really liked it too. But this, yeah, there's definitely a sense that this vehicle is much more nimble feeling than the LX. And I know that's ridiculous. It's a 5,300-pound vehicle, but the LXs, especially the newer ones, they're like 6,000 pounds. So just let that sink in a little bit. This is like 700 pounds lighter than that. Man, I just can't get over just how good this thing drives, even with all this miles. The braking feels confident. The steering is, I like the size of the steering wheel, by the way, and there's a natural feel to it, similar to Toyotas as well. I really like how natural and well-tuned these vehicles are for the street. And this vehicle is heavily based off of the 4Runner, but it's also got little bits and pieces of the Land Cruiser, so it's not just a 4Runner that's been rebranded or rebadged as a Lexus. It's not. Lexus makes some legitimate changes to their vehicles. Of course, there's that role that you can't really escape with these larger vehicles, and that's totally fine because pretty much every luxury vehicle has this. Because it's it's got bits and pieces of 4Runner and Land Cruiser. This car actually has the 4Runner. Because this vehicle has bits of the 4Runner, it's basically like that Tacoma platform as well. So it's a body-on-frame, proper truckish type vehicle, but obviously it's a Lexus, so they've really toned it down quite a bit. Yeah, I'm about to go over these railroad bumps here. Sublime. It's not exactly like a truck-like ride. This actually feels even smoother than the what's it called, that LX I drove, but obviously it's a much older vehicle. It's like 10 years newer than that. But you do, like, over the really rough stuff, like some potholes, like you'll definitely feel it, but it's really still a comfortable ride. I mean, you just hear it, but when you go over those bumps, you don't really quite feel it that badly, so that's good. Yeah, this definitely has a sense of poise that I'm really impressed that this vehicle has, because it is body on frame and it does weigh like 5,300 pounds. It's not a joke, but that being said, the dynamics of this are really quite excellent, but the engine performance, it's a V8, of course, so it is buttery smooth. Love that, but I'm not going to lie, it's definitely not quite as potent as you might expect it to be, and that's totally fine. I was kind of going into this thinking that, but the good thing about this is it doesn't really inspire like an urgent driving style. It's a relaxed Lexus, so that smooth V8 is so appropriate for this. But also, the vehicle never feels like it's struggling, and that's all I really care about in a luxury vehicle. So I personally have no issues with this particular motor, but I will say though, the biggest advantage that this has over the 4Runner is the fact that this is a 4.6 liter V8. So that is so proper, and obviously, you know, the 4Runners only come with the V6, and that's fine, but you know, this V8, man, it really just fits the character of this so well for a large SUV, basically. And it sounds so good. Obviously, when you drive like this, the biggest problem you're going to be running into is gas mileage, but hey, if you can afford this bad boy, then I guess gas mileage is something that you suck up on, because, you know, this is so reliable. It's such a bulletproof drivetrain. This 5-speed auto, I believe it is. Fantastic. I mean, it's got the right amount of gears. I'm sorry, no, I think it's a 6-speed, I'm sorry. But, you know, again, it feels natural shifting, so that's really good. But you will definitely be surprised at the dynamic that this Lexus will provide you with. And also, another reason why I really like this is a proper body-on-frame vehicle. Like I said, kind of that truck platform. So this is going to have some capabilities that, you know, a RAV4 is obviously not going to have. You can legitimately tow with this up to like 6,500 pounds. I believe the payload is like 1,200 pounds as well. So it's definitely a far more capable, if you want to use it like legitimately, you know, it's going to be a proper work vehicle, basically. Obviously, not too many people are going to be towing with this. I just want to, you know, put that out there. Mainly, you're going to get that sense of security and safety when you pilot this. And no, at no point will you ever feel like this thing is going to, you know, tip over or anything like that. Those days are long over. You know, I guess the only con to this that I can say is it's not quite as quiet as I would expect it to be. There's definitely a little bit of road noise, and some wind noise does protrude through. That being said, the stability at speeds is excellent. It's just that you do get a little bit more noise than you might like, but honestly, it's really nothing to... I'm not really too offended by it, but, you know, it's just something to keep in mind, I guess. Just something to know. That's really the only complaint I have with this driving experience. Otherwise, I really like this motor. I like the way this trans shifts. I like the way, just the general confidence that you have. You do feel like a boss. You do feel like you're sitting up rather high in this. So, you know, your visibility, the ease of drive, and the fact that it's not quite as, you know, girthy as like the LX. This is definitely a better package as a whole, because you get the smooth V8, and the size and package of this is excellent. Still body on frame, so you have some towing capabilities and things like that. Do you like the brakes in this as well? It's pretty good. You have a bit of roll, but can't really escape that with a 5,300 pound vehicle. Ride comfort is good, and that's really what's important. So I really do appreciate the way that this thing drives as a whole. Just keep in mind, a bit of tire noise, but that's about it. With that though, that's pretty much gonna wrap up my driving experience with this real quick. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at that interior now. All right, well, climbing inside of the 2011 Lexus GX460. So other than the drive, I mean, I am always super excited to get inside of pretty much any Lexus vehicle. You have no idea just how solid it feels in here. Lexus is like no other luxury car manufacturer. The only like 3 luxury car companies to feel like this with some miles on it are Lexus, Genesis, and Acura, and well, also Toyota Hondas as well. They just age so well. They're so solid. There's no, yeah, obviously there is some wear in here. I'm going to show you that in a bit, but like, I just mean like the solidity of it, like the way it's all put together, just the way everything still works till this day. I mean, it is absolutely superb, because this is almost knocking on a decade old now, basically. It's a 2011 model year, and it still feels fresh, and I wasn't exaggerating when I drove it. It really does even drive brand new. There was nothing weird about driving it. You know, I drove that 2013 S-Class, and, you know, like the steering wheel was making some weird noises, like, and it just didn't quite have that same sense of solidity. Well, this, the complete opposite of it. But let me just turn this bad boy on, and I can show you. It's got all the convenience, entry, exit features, classic V8 sound of a Toyota, you know, just fires right up and it sounds really good. That's the sound of reliability right there. Anyway, here's the key. You know, all this keyless access stuff. It is a Lexus after all. Push button start is very similar to even my 2008 LS460. Again, another vehicle with like close to 100,000 miles that feels super solid. You know, the theme really does continue with these vehicles as well. And this key, I don't mind it. It looks pretty good as well. You know, love it, man. I just love being in this thing. The gauges look super, super simple. You have a little helper screen in the middle there. You know, the steering wheel, it's aged extremely well. Like I mentioned in the drive, the size of it is so perfect, as well as the thickness, the leather on this. It's aged perfectly, actually. But I will say, though, the seat leather, though, this is probably like the worst, like, worn leather seat I've seen in a Lexus. I guess like the older Lexus cars had better leather in them or something. I don't know. Even in my 2008 LS, it's held up far better than this. This is a lot more cracked, but other than that, though, I mean, the overall just seat itself, super solid, super supple, really comfortable, like you would expect. And I obviously like the color theme going on here. It's a white vehicle with the kind of light beige interior, so it really does look very nice in here. The headlining in these Lexus cars, absolutely stupendous, super soft, love that. You know, I'm going to go over a few things I didn't quite go over during the drive as well, just because I didn't have enough time. You know, this vehicle does obviously have like the 4x4 features, little hill descent stuff right here, all the things that you're probably never going to use. But this is, don't get it twisted, this is definitely one of the most capable vehicles that you can possibly buy. These are the real Range Rovers, mind you. These are the ones that can really go through anything and come out on top and be super reliable at the same time. And your 4x4 controls are right there, easy to use, easy to get to. That's great. Love the traditional shifter, of course. That's fantastic. Plenty of nice little cubby spaces. Like, I like how this cup holder is just one big brick. It's just one big open space. That's pretty cool, I guess. Even this little also you have a USB and aux in here, which is nice. You know, 2011, most cars had that. A bit of a storage compartment as well. And this thing still closes and opens perfectly. Love that. You have heated and cooled seats for the front two seats. I believe this is the premium, at least that's what it said on Cary Imports website, but when I looked in the back, I didn't see the heated seating function, because I believe the premium was supposed to come with air suspension, which I don't see any controls for that here. By the way, this thing not opening. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I'm too scared to, but I don't see any other controls, like nothing for the air suspension, and I didn't see the heated seat function in the rear. So I'm not sure, but this thing is fitted with a lot of stuff. The nav system, the overall just, you know, infotainment in general. Obviously the heated and cooled seats in the front. So this is definitely a pretty highly optioned out spec, but I do like how the climate control is separated. You do have to use the climate control to access the you know, the fan speeds and all that stuff. So but that's similar to my LS. I'm not too concerned with the electronics in this vehicle, because Lexus electronics, man, they really do hold up to the test of time. So I'm not terribly worried about that, but just to let you know, there are definitely some, you know, functions going on here. You know, you have your traction control off right here. You know, I like the steering controls for changing tracks and the volume all right here. Very convenient, very good. But kind of going back to the air suspension, you know, I believe, you know, obviously this doesn't really have it, because I've heard that this thing rides like it's on a cloud, and the LX 570 I drove did have it, and it definitely did ride just subtle, just a little bit better than this, but nothing really to mention. This is still a comfortable vehicle. You just similar to the you know, most body on frame vehicles, you know, you do definitely get a bit of a, you sense you're going over the, you know, like a pothole or something like that, like the really rough stuff, but overall it glides over the rest of the pavement pretty good. But if you had the air suspension, it would just, you know, you couldn't really even tell that you're in a body on frame vehicle. But the fact that it doesn't have it, I kind of see it as a good thing, and one less thing to worry about, I suppose. But anyway, enough of that. I like how it drives and all that, pretty good. Idle, smooth. One-touch auto windows for all four windows. Love that. Fantastic. That's very good. The wood in here has aged extremely well. And dude, like, it is just so damn solid in here, dude. I just can't get over that. I'm not exaggerating. It really does feel like it came off the showroom floor. That's how good these vehicles are. And it's why people really love these things, man. Man, I really just like the size of it. It's just not super intimidating to drive on the road. Plus, it's still just as capable as an LX pretty much. It just doesn't have the name of an LX, but this is still kind of, I think, my choice. It still comes with a V8, still very spacious. It's got a lot of, you know, center console space is that of a truck. I like this space right here, and even the glove box, pretty good size as well. You can fit large bottles in the door jambs, the door pockets, so that's fantastic. I'll end off on one thing. I don't believe that this has the Mark Levinson, which I also think is a good thing. It's got like a 9-speaker audio system because the Mark Levinson amps are known to fail, so this one doesn't have it. I guess it's a good thing. But I think that pretty much covers everything. You know, pretty decent overview of the front here. You know, this stuff right here, I guess I can cover. You know, it's got the home link, it's got the sunroof. You know, but it's a well-equipped vehicle. It's got everything you need, nothing you don't. I think you can pretty much appreciate it. It's a clean cabin, man. It's a soft, supple, supportive place to be, so I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the rear seats now and the trunk space. Okay, now climbing into the rear here. I will say though, getting in and out of this thing, really not too difficult at all, so I really do appreciate that. Don't expect Maybach levels of space back here. You have the adequate amount of space back here, and I appreciate that. That's fine. That's totally fine because you have an immense amount of trunk space, which I think a lot of people can appreciate. So I don't really mind it when SUVs kind of cut short on the legroom. It's totally fine. It doesn't need to be an LS Lexus back here. But you know, 5'11" the seat is set to my setting, and I sit behind myself, no issues. You can definitely be over 6 feet tall and not have too many issues. Obviously, headroom in an SUV is going to be superb. Again, solidity continues, which is fantastic. You do have HVAC in the back here, and I do have like these little seat pockets right here, a little bit of extra storage. You could definitely fit a bottle back here as well. You know, again, like I mentioned, I can't find the heated rear seat button, so you know, not a big deal, honestly. These seats are super comfortable and supportive, which I really appreciate in Lexus. I will say I really like the shape of this this little armrest rack here. It's a quite substantial armrest, and I like the shape of it. Weird thing to say, but it's true. Nice little cup holders back here. They seem very adequate, so that's good. And it's just an overall very nice place to be. Fitting adults back here, no issues whatsoever. So with that, let's go ahead and look at that trunk and kind of end this review off. Okay, now I'm not sure if most of you are prepared for this, but this joint actually opens up sideways. Actually, I'm pretty sure most of you knew this because most of you watching are probably owners of this vehicle. But as you can see here, I love the way that opens up, by the way, and I actually kind of wish that there was a tire in the back, you know, like a G-Wagon, but it doesn't, and it's not a big deal. Like I mentioned, stupid amounts of space back here. Anything more than this, just like I always say, look into a U-Haul. I don't know if this is an advantage or a disadvantage, if people like it to open this way or if they like to open it up here. I kind of like this, actually. It's very unique, and I don't know, it's just nice, I guess. Anyway, plenty of space. I think this is a 3-row, actually. You can actually pull this bad boy up, and you do get some semi like child seats as a 3rd row, but it's kind of useless. I would just leave it the way this is and just enjoy the immense amount of space. There's so much space back here, you shouldn't have any issues with it. So with that, let's go ahead and let's end this review off. All right, well, wrapping up this review. So what do I think about the 2011 Lexus GX460? Well, I obviously love the engine of this thing. I think that's the biggest advantage that this vehicle has over the 4Runner anyway, because that only comes with a V6. Not saying that's bad, but the smoothness of a V8 just can't be compared, you know what I mean? And also, the fact that this vehicle is just still so solid to this day, it's just a complete testament to Lexus quality, the way they build these cars, you know what I mean? They obviously have a totally different mindset from a lot of the European manufacturers anyway. Everything from the interior to the drive, there's no weirdness to it. There's nothing strange about it. It just drives properly. And obviously it was Adam's mom's car. So the owner of the store basically, his name is Adam. You know, obviously it's been babied, so that helps for sure. And it doesn't even have the tow package on it. So that obviously means nobody towed with this vehicle. So that's really fantastic as well. Now, I do also like these little tiny wheels on this thing. It definitely helps these body on frame vehicles just ride that much better, and this vehicle is not equipped with the air suspension, so it's a little bit more reliable, but don't expect it to ride like an LS 460, but it's going to ride extremely well, so you shouldn't really find any complaints with the way that this thing rides. It's still a Lexus, still rides fantastic. I will say the only like real con I found with the drive is just a bit of tire noise, but you can probably put some Michelins on here and that'll pretty much solve that issue probably as well. Gas mileage, of course, I think you already know the story behind that. Just to be expected with these body on frame SUVs. They're like over 5,000 pounds. At least it's going to be better than the LX, which weighs like 6,000 pounds. It comes with that 5.7 liter V8. I really like the interior touches in here. Solid, everything works. I like the heated and cooled seats, of course. It's got all the nice little amenities that you would want to live with every day, but no extra nonsense that you don't need. So really appreciate Lexus doing that. So stupid amounts of space, of course, so that's fantastic. And at the end of the day, this is that GX lineup, you know, it can go anywhere. It's just, it'll plow through pretty much any environment in absolute comfort. So that's something you got to respect. These are the original, this is like the real Range Rovers, if you know what I mean. Really, I mean, these videos are just mental masturbation for Lexus owners, basically, just to get confirmation that they made a great choice. You did. Lexus really, truly is basically one of the best luxury vehicles that you can buy. If you're interested in picking this one up, it's a super clean one. Hit up Adam or just Cary Imports. I'll just leave all their information down below. You can come, at least take a look at it like that other subscriber did with the LX 570. But also, you know, if you're gonna come check out some of these vehicles, you know, hit me up on Instagram. If time permits, if my schedule permits, I would definitely like to meet some of you guys. And we can definitely even check the vehicle out together if you want. So with that, that pretty much is going to wrap up my review of the GX460. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and goodbye.